Hi, good afternoon or good evening. My name is Alaiza Salcedo, and today I'm going to talk about overcoming greatest challenges in a work from home setup. So, before we start, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Alaiza. My nickname is Jai, and I am the Web Assistant Engineering Lead for Syntactics Inc. and the Program Director for Syntactics Pink. I'd just like to give a brief overview of what Syntactics Pink is. We started in 2017 and we've been organizing seminars, we've been partnering with the ICT and other tech communities in the Philippines to empower women, to encourage women, and then to increase the ratio of women interested in coding and tech. As we all know, the IT industry is more or less a male dominating industry. So we want to encourage more women and empower women not to be scared in coding and in tech, and like motivate them more to join. So our events are free. We partnered with ACT, we partnered with GDG, DevCon, um, Women Who Code, Paichada, Jungle Girls, to invite more women and then to let them see the wonders of IT and coding. And our event is not um, limited to people in IT, but also to women in the government, to women in engineering, in marketing, in businesses. Even moms are were joining in our events. Even kids. We had an event that is made exclusively for kids, and we are now back to encourage more women as well, even though we are in still in a pandemic and face-to-face events are still on hold, but we are trying our best to reach out to more women, and then during this pandemic they could increase their skills or enhance their skills more in coding. And maybe we'll have our next developer, or we'll have 10 more developers that will be more inspired and motivated to change the world, right? And code, and um, even inspire more women to help out one another, right? So I'm gonna start with this question: what's your work from home setup? It's different from each person. Some people are using laptops, some people are using desktop. I use a desktop personally. And what I do have in my desk is I have my notebook, I have my pen, I have my tablet, and I have my headphones, my mic, and there are also some um, employees. There are some developers that are using speakers. Some have a gaming chair, some an ergonomic chair. And so it really differs from person to person on where they are comfortable and what they currently have. So I've asked some of my colleagues, along with my co-pinkers, or as I say, Cindy and Hazel. They're also some of the organizers for Syntactics Pink. They were able to help me out in asking some of our colleagues on what their current work home setup is. So these are some of the pictures that we've gathered from them. As you can see, some have dual monitors, some use a laptop, others have a gaming chair, others have an ergonomic chair, some has like a really nice scenery while they're working. So it really differs from person to person. And we asked them what they currently like about their current setup, what they currently don't like, and what they want to have. Okay, so some like the easy access to lounges, like the living room, the bedroom. Some wants the comfortable setup. Some like the scenery, no commute time or more time with family, more time with kids, good peripherals, flexible time, more time to sleep, more time with pets, a clean and organized area, and they can save more money because the commute and then the going out after work is cut short, right? Some dislikes: the unstable internet connection, the summer heat, especially now it's summertime, noisy neighbors, unscheduled power interruptions. These have been pretty frequent over the summer. Working in a common area wherein, especially if you're working in a living room, you may have your siblings like writing on modules or also attending online classes, or you have your mom also working or your dad. Electricity and internet bill is increasing because you're most of the time 24/7 you're already in your house. More calls, you have to communicate more since you're not in your office, so you need to have frequent meetings and calls from time to time. Misses the office bonding, like hanging out with friends, having like activities, team building. Also, there's also some people who really miss that. Uncomfortable work from home setup. Maybe there are some who are like just using sitting in an uncomfortable chair, or they prefer not to um, work in this area, but that's the only area they have and they really want to improve their setup. And then boring, so it really is kind of boring for others that they are in a work from home setup wherein they are used to like going out after work or spending time with friends after work, and then now they're just stuck at home because of the pandemic. So that is also taking a toll on their mental health as well. And wish list. So they want to improve focus, maybe because there are some that they have background noises, or maybe like siblings are annoying, or some also moms or asking for errands from them, and so on. DIY comfy chair and table. They also want that. They're also working on it. A comfortable chair, like a good ergonomic chair or a gaming chair. On workspace, so some that are like just using their bedroom, just using a table, and then they don't really have their own home office, so they also want that. Accessories, like good accessories, like a headset, a mic, good headphones, good keyboards. Purchase aircon and upgrade chair for better ergonomics. So that is really a good investment to have, especially now in the summer heat. And then if you have a bad chair, then your posture might be affected. Upgrade current workstation, go back to office space. Some are not really used to work from home and they really prefer the office space. And others want bigger windows for a great scenery, or they want more natural light to go inside their room. So, according to a recent survey, 88% of the organizations worldwide made it mandatory or encouraged their employees to work from home after COVID-19 was declared a pandemic. So everyone was really forced to work from home so that it so that everyone will have less exposure to the pandemic, and it's much safer that way. And 77% of workers feel companies will be more open to or pushed to allow them to work remotely once this global health emergency is over. So I think there are actually some companies already that have left like permanently the office set up and like had everyone already working from home because they saw that the productivity of the staff are actually the same or even or improved after they shifted from office to home. And this also varies from company to company. There are also some that have like skeletal crew, and then others are just working from home. But most of the workers feel that they want to have companies that will offer this after the pandemic. So especially if they're really already comfortable with working from home. 66% of small medium businesses cited reliable network connectivity as a concern when supporting remote working. So this is a really common problem for us. The remote work, an unstable internet connection really occurs like most of the day, or even in a month. There are some intermittent internet issues, so that's really unavoidable. But that's why we have no choice but to purchase a backup so that we won't be disrupted with our current work. And then 19% of remote employees report loneliness as their biggest challenge, especially if you're more of an extrovert where you're used to hanging out with people. So if you're already in a work from home setup, you feel like you're alone and you have no one to talk to, then it might take a toll on your mental health. So what really are the major challenges in a work from home setup? and how can I remain productive despite them. So what I'm gonna show now are some of the basics or the most common challenges in a work from home setup, especially if you're using office base. So first is the work-life balance. So right now, if you're working from home, you are literally working in your home. So there's the line between your work and your personal life is really thin. That sometimes they might mix, and even your emotions or your emotional health might affect, like your work stress you might bring to your personal stress, or your personal stress you might bring to work, because your home is your office. And then also they either slack off or work harder. So there are some people, they're slacking off because I'm at home, I'm very chill, I should enjoy this. Or there are also others that are really comfortable in their homes that they tend to work harder. So the balance between the work and your personal life may be affected. Next is the disruption in routine. Now that, if example, your shift starts at 8, some people even just wake up at 7:45 or 7:50, right? Like minutes before you start your shift, and you end up with the pictures here. I myself am guilty. I think also some of the people I know are guilty with this as well, especially if you don't have any calls scheduled for that day, or your calls don't require a camera or just the top part. So that's why some people are professional at the top but wearing shorts, or just wearing boxers or even basketball shorts at the bottom. So that is already disrupting your routine, because if you are from office based, you are used to waking up early, taking a bath, brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, and then commuting to work. So even though the relief of not spending time taking a bath, yeah, preparing breakfast and traveling to work is an amazing feeling, it may be alarming because it might degrade your productivity, because you're like slacking off and your body's just telling you that you're at home. You don't need to work that much, something like that. Next is failure to network. This is also starting in the pandemic, or people are more used to working at home, and then they're not really comfortable already going out. Even when the pandemic ends, like they're so used already to being at home. So just stay here. I don't want to join any event. So you might be really affected in this. Um, One of the things that we have greatly affected on, yeah, it's because of the pandemic. We miss the talks, we miss the swags, the friends, and the food. And then also tech communities and organizations are a great way to meet new mentors, meet more professionals, meet people who have the same interests as you, but they are on hold, or they are not possible at this time. So it's something that we really miss. So when was the last time you really joined that community event? My last event was face to face event is in 2019, and that's really, like, it really feels like a long time. So I miss meeting new people. I miss networking to more organizations, because there's really a big difference between meeting them in like a screen and meeting them personally, right? Next is background noises. So these two are your best friends during the call. They're pretty they're pretty annoying. They're Nothing is better than these two to sabotage your meeting, and they usually are very noisy during your calls. So they may make you irritable, and especially if you're in a potential client meeting, or you're discussing with your lead or your mentor or your manager, and then they hear the noise of your dog or the noise of your chickens in your background. It may seem unprofessional. So that's why it really is important that you live, or you have soundproofed your work area, or you just need to make sure that these two are not noisy. Next is isolation. So what looks like a busy workspace may feel like an empty room. So you may feel like, I've mentioned before, someone said that they may feel like they're already bored, or it takes a toll on your mental health. That even though your workspace is nice, you have everything you want, but you have no one to talk to, or you really miss your closest friends at work. So it may feel alone, especially during this pandemic where movement is limited. People may feel alone when working from home. So that's also a bad disadvantage, or a disadvantage in working from home. Next, it takes a toll on your mental health. So is it really more stress free, or more relaxed? So 41% of employees who more often work from home versus on site consider themselves highly stressed compared to the 25% of those who worked only on site. So why is that? Even I should be more relaxed now because I'm working from home. But why is it there's a higher percentage of people working from home? So as I've mentioned before, it's the work life balance, and people most of the time are undivided, or they really don't know the difference between working from home and just like enjoying your personal life. So it doesn't it isn't necessarily like a bad thing. It does, but it really is greatly affecting someone's mental health, especially if you are the type of person who is hardworking and is really trying their best to save money, to work for their families, especially if you already have a family or you have a loved one that you're working, or you have something to really save up for. So it really does take a toll on your mental health, and that may greatly affect you in the long run. Next is time management. So especially if you have the privilege to work in flexible hours, so some may slack off and sleep like the whole afternoon or the whole morning, and then just proceed with work in the evening. So if you have this kind of setup, your sleeping patterns may be messed up, or you haven't you lost track in time. That's why time management may also be a hindrance, or a bad um trait that you might have, or like a bad time management for working. Next is reduce supervision or direction. So usually when you're in work in your office, um you're beside your supervisor, you're beside your manager, and when you have a question or you have a concern, you can just call them or ask them for help, and then they're just automatically be beside you and assisting you in your needs. But with the work from home, the effort to contact them maybe twice because of like calls and texts, and then some may be also busy because they are asking for supervision like at the same time. So that also is a factor to consider. You have no like right direction, but I'm really thankful that there are also some people who are really with their peers, with their colleagues, who are really helping out during this pandemic. But that may be a good time for you to like self do self learning, and like exploring more on your advantages, exploring more on your skills, and just have the supervisor tell you if this is the right thing or this is the wrong thing to do. But yeah, reduced supervision direction may be one thing that it's also a greatest challenge when you're working from home. So next up is communication issues. So communicating is um, it consumes twice the effort because most of the people aren't seeing face to face. So they have to be more concise or be more specific in the message that they're portraying. So it really takes double the effort, especially if you're chatting with a client or chatting with your staff. So you really have to make them you have to portray your message more clearly than the face to face ones, because it takes double the effort usually. So how do we overcome challenges and be more productive? So now that we've tackled some of the major challenges, and I know some of us have experienced those challenges. I myself have currently or am currently handling or struggling with those. So how do we overcome those challenges and be more productive in our work from home setup? So let's start off with switching up your workspace. So having an effective workspace brings normalcy and productivity to the situation. It's best that you have your own workspace, even though if it's just small, or you have a dedicated table and chair. It does give or boost up your productivity, or it really helps a lot. So 71% of the employees researched with good posture emit a higher level of confidence. So you have to sit properly and then it makes you feel confident. Like you're not like slouching, or you're not like, because sometimes when you slouch, it does give you back pain in the long run. And it also showed that the members of the study who experienced good posture were more productive at work to an impressive 75%. Because you have good posture, you're well balanced, you don't feel any pain. So it's more, you're more committed, or you're more focused on doing the job right. So a good home office setup should have the following: a good laptop or PC. Some use their personal laptop, some use the company issued units. Next is a desk. You have your own dedicated desk, an ergonomic chair. In my opinion, you do need to invest in a good ergonomic chair, because you're going to sit in your space for at most 8 hours. Some even go as high as 12 hours in working. So it really helps if you're sitting in a comfortable chair, so that you won't have back pain, or you won't be distracted, or you won't feel uncomfortable. Next is the extra computer monitor. Having 2 or 3 monitors really helps a lot, because you won't be out tabbing your browser, your IDE, and your terminal. So having dual monitors can increase your productivity. A good quality camera when you're having a call, and also a good quality microphone, so that your voice can be clearer to your colleagues or your clients. Next is noise canceling headphones, and this is also essential so that you won't get distracted by the background noises behind you. I also suggest that you can use Crisp. I've tried Crisp before. It filters out the voice. For example, if you have a background noise like your dogs or your chickens, if you have Crisp installed, it filters out the noisy background. It works most of the time, but there are some cases wherein if the background noise is already loud, so it might not filter out everything. But it did help a lot when I was having my calls. Of course, water, you have to you have to stay hydrated. Sorry, you have to stay hydrated, because you're gonna be working for like most of the day. So you have to have water beside you. Next is soft light, maybe like a lamp, especially if your work is at night. So having a lamp can like calm the eyes down. And of course, natural light. So it's nice to have like natural light in in front of you, or you're facing a window that has natural light, or you're in a room that has a lot of natural light coming in. Your space needs a desk or a table that is at work height. The industry standard is 29 inches from the floor to the top of the work surface. And also, if you're sitting down, it's recommended when you type, your arm should be at 90 degrees, so that it won't be like that. It's uncomfortable, or it's too low that you need to slouch. And also, keep your workspace away from your bedroom. This is really tempting, but it's best that if your workspace is away from your bedroom. And also, a nice tip: join Home Buddies. I just joined the group, and it's nice because some people are sharing their workspaces there, and you might get inspiration there, or you might get ideas on how to improve your workspace. So that's also a good community that you can join. Next is delegate your tasks properly. So use time management or project management tools to keep track of both your personal and work goals. So me personally, I like to write my to-dos on a planner so that you can see there's not a satisfying feeling of just checking off or like striking off a task that you've already done. So it also gives you an idea on what you need to do for the day and not just like do like the day-to-day tasks. It helps that if you really have notes and make sure that you don't forget anything. So these are some of the, if you're more on the digital side though, we have some to do list apps that you can try. We have the Trello, the Microsoft To Do, the Todoist, and Habitica. Habitica is a nice to do list because it's like a game. If you're a gamer, or if you're more into like interactive apps, then you can try Habitica. This is a really nice one. And also participate in online training. So since face-to-face events are put on hold due to the pandemic, most tech communities and organizations have been organizing free online training like this one. It will be a good opportunity to expand your knowledge and your skills. So like for PH Tech Week, they organized um this event so that even though face-to-face events are still not available, then the energy is still there of having face-to-face events. It's like pretty much the same. Like we have the same topics, we have the same, but it keeps the momentum alive. Okay, so next is that you find a hobby so that you can improve as well your other skills aside from your technical ones that you do at work. So there are 5 types of hobbies that can improve your happiness. So first is you need to have a creative hobby so that you can improve your drawing, your artistic skills, even like music or songwriting. Next is you need to have a hobby to keep you in shape. So our bodies are made to move. So you need to find a hobby that can keep you active, like walking or jumping rope or like dancing or making TikTok dances if that's your thing. That's also a good hobby to have. Next, you need to have a hobby to socialize. Find a hobby that you can enjoy with loved ones. Some have a group or some like homebodies. That's also a good way to socialize with other people, or like coffee. If you have friends or a group that likes coffee, you could have that. Next is a hobby to learn. Hobby to learn is you have um, courses that you can learn. Like I know someone as well. There are some people also that have garnered a lot of certificates from free online trainings that they also had as a hobby. It's a win-win situation that not only that you can learn, but also you added more credibility, or you have more credits to your resume or to your skills. And lastly, a hobby that makes money. So since the pandemic has started, there are a lot of small businesses that are booming, which is a really, really good thing. We have friends, and I myself have a baking small business that started during the pandemic. And not only is it enjoyable, but it does also give you like a side hustle, or that it could give you extra income. So those are 5 hobbies that you need to have so that you can be more happier. Next is exercise. So I'm really guilty at this. Um, it's easier said than done, but starting off from light to moderate exercise really goes a long way. So I've also seen a lot of inspiring people who had their weight loss journey during pandemic, and they're so good, they're so amazing, and then they just started off like really simple exercises until that they really lost all the weight that they wanted. They achieved their goal weight, and it's a really nice journey. And then not only is it like physically good, but it can also release serotonin, the happiness hormones. It also keeps you happy, it also keeps you active, and it keeps you healthy during the pandemic. Next is make it a habit to unplug. So pay attention to the time you spent on work. Don't overwork yourself, because that really is a bad thing. It would take a toll on your mental health and your physical health as well. Limit yourself from viewing work-related emails and notifications after your work period. So some have muted their notifications after work shift. I think there's I think in Paris or in Europe, I'm not sure where, but it is a rule there that they should not entertain or they should not send out work related emails after their shift. So that's a good um way to keep everyone less intimidated or less stressed. Next is rest your eyes and take a nap or read a good book. So when I was doing a checkup for my eyes, the doctor told me that to keep your eyes like relaxed and keep it from straining, you have to look at the wind outside or outside the screen for like every 30 minutes. You have to rest your eyes somewhere or look at scenery and not look at the screen because it can strain your eyes. So that is really essential. And then just really like make it a habit to not check on work related stuff or even your social media. But if social media is what keeps you like relaxed, then that's okay. But if you're the type of person that doesn't want any screen time after work, then it's best that you just unplug it and just like rest. Next is get dressed. If you don't get ready for the day, your day never really starts. So instead of working from home, you're just at home with the occasional work check-in. So it's nice that you dress up for the part. Like you dress up like you're really working. So I attended an event like early this year that she really discussed or she really talked about how dressing up is a good part or a good way to start your work. So it keeps you like productive. It makes your mind think, or it's a psychological thing that makes you think that I'm doing this right now. I'm gonna be productive. I'm gonna be determined because I'm in my work outfit or in my work like bag or aura. So it's nice that you do work or you do wear like formal or comfortable clothes or your usual work clothes when you go to office. Next is make a routine. So as I've mentioned before in the challenges, there's a disruption in your routine when you're working from home. So following a routine similar to a routine when you work in an office can feel working from home less dragging and wires you to actually being productive rather than just sitting hours and hours just working. So if you practice your mind to have a routine like from waking up, it's just like an actual do like going to the office, but rather than having that time to commute, you could just utilize that extra time to, let's say, exercise or take a long walk or like watering your plants or having a playtime with your pets. So wiring that into your brain can simulate the feeling of like you're actually really going to an office and make you feel more productive. Next is talk to someone. So even the most introverted people, like I personally I'm a very introverted person. So it does play a part if you talk to someone, even your closest friends, your loved ones, your family, anyone that you really want to talk to. It's really helpful. It's really a good way to cope up with stress so that you could like talk to someone like how are you, even a simple hi, even a simple kumusta can cheer someone up and get back on their feet because sometimes being alone can be really lonely. So like every now and then frequent like check-ins with your loved one. Maybe your loved one might need someone to talk to and you might be the guardian angel that can really help them out. Next is, of course, prioritize your health. There will always be inevitable times when you may miss a meal or lack some sleep due to work, but it's always important to rehydrate, eat the right foods, and meditate to make up for it and treat your body right. Because nothing is better than having a healthy body and then the right mindset. So it's always good to drink your water, especially in this pandemic. Take your vitamins, eat the right kind of foods, because this pandemic is not a joke, and it's really nice if it's really good if you eat the right foods and just not slack off. Next, of course, is you do need to take a break. Even though it's hard, it's surprisingly hard to get at least 8 hours of sleep because due to work or even social media, TikTok, Netflix, It really depends on what's keeping you late at night. Even just your mental health might keep you up late at night, but it really helps, and it's really important that you get at least 8 hours of sleep. Next is reward yourself for your hard work. Don't be guilty. Some people are really guilty in rewarding themselves for their hard work, and that shouldn't be a thing, because you deserve what you've worked long hours for. You've worked enough. Just because you're working at home doesn't mean that you don't need to be rewarded. So don't feel guilty in rewarding yourself. That's a really good thing, because it can also determine you in the long run to be more productive, or to work harder, so that you can get also of like more rewards for yourself, because you need to treat yourself right. Finish the TV series you've been always wanting to. Your K dramas, like rewatching for the fifth time an episode of Friends, or the season of Friends, watching your favorite K dramas, your favorite Western TV shows, anything to keep your mind off or to keep you relaxed is a really good thing to have. Learn that new recipe, since you're already working from home. The kitchen is all yours, so you have more time to explore on new recipes, new pastries, new desserts. So this is your opportunity to shine. This is your time to shine. Next, play with your fur babies. If you're a dog lover or cat lover, you have some pets lying around, they can keep the stress like a little lighter. It keeps you stress free. So having a good quality time with your pets can help a lot. And then also read a book if you're a book lover, or even if you're really not a book lover, or you have like self-help books, management books. Reading a book can really improve you, or can really boost your, like, increase your skills, or like help you to be a better person. So this is also one technique that I practice most of the time. This is a Pomodoro technique. If you're not familiar with it, it's a really good method, so that you can really take the breaks that you really need. And what it does is that you work for 25 minutes, like undivided attention, no distractions work for 25 minutes. And then you use that 5-minute break to also not do anything work related. Like you want to go to the restroom, you want to relax, you want to like take a walk out the sun to mapapainit kayo, or and also anything, but as long as you keep your 25-minute work time just full of work, like dedicated, and also your 5-minute break, and then you do that 4 times, like 4 pomodoros, and then you then take your long break for either like your work or your lunch or your like break time. Especially if you have a flexible work schedule, this can really help in balancing your focus and like delegating tasks properly. So during these breaks, you can make it a habit to stretch, rest your eyes, or bask out in the sun. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I hope that you get to learn a thing or two from what I've shared. So those items that I've mentioned are also some of the things that I really practice, and I really try my best to practice, and I hope everyone is doing it as well. So if you have any questions, or you want to reach out to Syntactics Pink, you can contact us at these numbers and at our Facebook page, and we are more than welcome to help you out if you had any needs. So I also sent here the sources for the statistics and some of the tips that I've shared over. So thank you everyone, and I hope you're staying safe in your home. Take extra good care of yourself. Don't forget to drink your water, and may you all have an amazing night. Thank you.
Hey, Fanny.
You have to mute your Zoom. It's
Wait. Um,
Thank you, Alaiza. Parang gusto ko na tuloy mag-online shopping ng work from home setup sa Lazada after nito. And speaking of which, tamang-tama guys. If you guys have been following our event closely, we do have a social media photos of the day contest. So we are giving away 5 Lazada vouchers worth 1,000 pesos, and we're doing that daily. So if you guys got some work from home setup ideas from Alaiza's very inspiring talk, you guys might be able to nick a few good finds here and there. So remember, you have to post a photo highlighting your experience or thoughts on PH Tech Week with the hashtag PH Tech Week 2021. We will be selecting winners from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And you have to make sure your post is set to public. We will be announcing winners at the end of each day and on social media. Again, thank you, Alaiza. I think it's wonderful to have organizations working towards closing the gender gap in tech, and we're really happy that you guys are working on that in Syntactics Pink. Maybe you can talk about that advocacy real quick before we head into our questions.
Okay. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Okay. So, like I've mentioned in my talk, we've started around 2017, and in especially in Syntactics Inc., we only have like a few number of women developers, and sometimes it feels like alone, even before. Sometimes it feels out of place that we don't have like a huge group of women who are developers. So that's why we're trying to break the gender gap, and we're trying to equalize the ratio of men and women developers by joining or by creating Syntactics Pink. So it is founded by our CEO and president, Ma'am Stephanie. She got this idea that we would organize events for free, and then we would welcome not necessarily people from the tech industry, but we also had events for moms, for kids, for students, and then we would introduce them step by step, slowly on how the technology works, how programming works. We also had like some Python, Vue. We also had block coding for kids. So we've been doing that, and then we've also partnered as well with other tech communities, and it's been a really nice journey. It's a good feeling that we've also inspired a lot of women as well that to join or to be involved in the tech industry. So yeah, it's been a really nice journey being with Syntactics Pink.
That's great. We're really thankful that there are organizations like you guys working towards that. So we do have a few questions from our audience from YouTube, and we would like to ask, do you set a timer for practicing the Pomodoro method? Mark, this is a question from Mark Anthony.
Okay. This is a good question. There are actually a lot of apps available in the App Store and then the Play Store that is meant for the Pomodoro method. You can just search it up. There's a lot, and there's even some one that is really a tomato UI type of app. I've tried that before, and it's a really good app so that you can manage really your Pomodoro time. And it's a good way to boost your productivity.
Yeah, great. I actually do have a question of my own because I did just start working at my new company during the pandemic. So I did only actually meet everyone remotely. So how do you recommend getting acquainted with everyone? Is it something that you proactively go out and schedule a call during company time? Is that something that's fair? Is that something that you recommend doing? How would you go about just like meeting your coworkers for the first time outside of a work-based setting?
Oh, okay. So in our company we usually introduce the new employees, and then we introduce them one by one. They get to say something about themselves, and sometimes when they're already involved in our projects, it's a perfect time to meet with everyone. That's a really good time so that they could aside from like working technically on the projects or coding, it's also a good opportunity for them to mingle with one another. So starting off with a project, or even suggesting to your HR or to your leads to organize a breakout activity, like just a weekly activity for everyone to join, even if it's not work related, just like simple games or icebreakers. That is a good opportunity also for everyone to be acquainted, and it's a really good suggestion that everyone should keep their mics and then their cameras open, because that's a common problem. People are too shy to open their cameras and mics, especially during the call. So it's if you're personally an outgoing person, you can also convince them, "Nay, let's turn on our cameras and our mics. We never know that maybe if we go out for essentials, we could bump into one another and we don't even recognize one another." So yeah, that's a good way to start like communicating or being acquainted with your colleagues.
Yeah, I think that's huge. That's something that we started doing at my previous company, and it really helps to acquaint yourself with not just a blank slate of people, but
Mhm.
people who are actually moving. So we do have another question from
Mhm.
Felino. How do you avoid procrastination, especially when what you need to do does not interest you?
Oh, okay. This is a good question. What I do personally though is that I set a goal. Like for example, when I'm in my work, there's like a goal that I want to achieve in my personal life, and then when I'm faced with this task or with this yeah, when I'm faced with a task that is not really of my interest, or it's something that I feel like I'm procrastinating, or it's something that it's really challenging for me and I don't have the right mood yet to work for it. What I do is just like take a break, and then I'll get back to the goal in mind that I have. Like, what's the main reason why I'm doing this? What's the main reason why I'm here? And then that's a good way. You can have like a mood board. You can have like your desktop wallpaper as your main goal on why you're still there and why you're still why you're doing what you're currently doing right now. So um going back to your goal and going back to what you're really there for, and just thinking that this is just a one-time thing, this is just a small thing, you'll get by. And don't never forget to take a break. That may be the reason that you feel like it's not of your interest. It's because you do not have the right mindset yet, and it's best that you could just take a nap, or even go back or just watch anything that keeps you happy, and then you can then go back, and maybe the next time you go to work again, it may be the perfect time for you to work on it.
Great. I couldn't have said it better myself. And so I do believe we have another question from Wesley. So he says, what is the minimum or maximum amount of time that you would set for a meeting? And how many meetings would you think is advisable per week? And I guess this is more of within a work from home kind of setting.
Okay. So actually that depends on the project or your company standards. So in our case, we do a best time to have a meeting is weekly, like getting the updates for your project, or like a sprint meeting or a weekly meeting to get back on the updates that you're currently working on. And it's also nice to have another weekly meeting to mingle with friends, like a weekender meeting, like getting to know everyone, or just like spending quality time with them. As for the minimum or maximum minutes for a meeting, if you're just getting for updates on a meeting, it's best if you limit your meeting from for 15 to 30 minutes, because and if the meeting exceeds like an hour or two, it might be a little overwhelming or information overload for the people you're currently working with. So 15 to 30 minutes is good, and then you can just extend the meeting if there are still like questions that needs to be answered, or there are still items that needs to be further explained. So yeah, that's a good time for like getting to know everyone. I think an hour is okay, or even just 45 minutes, just like getting to know, or just having good quality time with your friends over the internet.
Ayan, guys. So actually, I do believe we have one more question from our audience on YouTube, but that's coming from News Media Nest. So he's asking, is it true that a meeting without food should be an email?
Is it true that a meeting without food should be an email? That really depends on the goal. So if you feel like the meeting is long and it's not explainable via email, you talk to your leads, you talk to your HR, pa-food panda kayo or for pa-grab kayo for the meeting. But yeah, it really depends. So if you feel like as part of the team or as part of the group, you feel like this conversation or this meeting could be an email, then don't hesitate to talk to them, and you can just justify why this meeting is okay if it's just an email, or if it's over Skype or Slack or other like communication tools, because sometimes meetings within the day or within the week can spend so much time in your actual work that needs to be done. So it's a matter of negotiating with your leads, negotiating with your teammates on whether or not this agenda should be a meeting or just an email.
Ayan guys, so you heard it from the master herself. She says that you should not be organizing meetings kung walang pakain. I'm just kidding, but thank you so much, Alaiza, for gracing us with your presence. We've learned so much. And again, parang nakaka-inspire. Gusto na namin mag-shopping sa Lazada to up our work from home setup. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.